Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Crosby Kemper. I'm the director of the Kansas City Public Library, and we're very glad to have you here to listen to Jeff Benedict talk about his great book, The Little Pink House. I do want to say at the beginning that you can find these flyers out on the table outside for a film, Begging for Billionaires, website www.beggingforbillionaires.com, which is actually a film about five Missouri families, five Missouri cases of eminent domain, and the Institute for Justice, where Dave Rowland worked, and which is responsible for a lot of the Kelo case. You'll hear about that, I'm sure, from Jeff. Found that Missouri is one of the worst states in the United States in terms of eminent domain abuse. And this film, Begging for Billionaires, is screening at the Kansas International Film Festival on Saturday, September 19th. That would be this Saturday at the Glenwood Theater at 95th and Metcalf. So those of you who are interested in this, and you wouldn't be here if you weren't interested, you might want to go take a look at the movie. And we have Begging for Billionaires t-shirt here. And I do want to say at the outset, this has a parochial concern for the library, and maybe in one way, because of the way our politics works, maybe this isn't so parochial. Maybe you all would be interested in this. Kansas City, indeed the library district, which is also the boundaries, except now for part of Independence, of the Kansas City School District. In our district, we are the center of government-controlled, voter-ignored tax abatement in the United States. We have a thing called TIF. You read about TIF in the newspapers periodically, in the Kansas City Star periodically. The Star's starting to be on our side on this issue, by the way, which is extraordinary. But you voted, the voters of the city, of our district, voted us, as you have voted the school district in other ways, and the county, and the mental health levy, and various others. A slight digression. Do you know that Missouri has more political subdivisions per capita than any other state in the United States? It's true. We have a third of all the political subdivisions in the United States are in the state of Missouri. Think about that for a while. More taxing jurisdictions, and you know what that means? More taxes. Anyway, I'm starting to get editorial now, but wait for just a second, because I'm going to be really editorial for a second. And that is to talk about tax abatement. We have a TIF statute in the state of Missouri and a lot of other statutes. We have the following forms of tax abatement that can be controlled by the city council and can take money that was voted by you, the voters, to the library, to the school district, to the county, to the mental health levy, et cetera. TIF, Chapter 353, Chapter 100, PIEA, Planned Industrial Expansion, LCRA, land clearance for redevelopment. Notice the word developments in a lot of these. TIF is controlled by the Economic Development Corporation. Members are appointed by the mayor and then fall asleep after they're appointed by the mayor, and let the staff do the following. Staff, by the way, of the TIF Commission and the EDC are paid by developer fees. They're paid by developer fees. They're not paid by the city. They're paid by the fees they generate by recommending development projects. And consequently, what happens is we have more of this in Kansas City, Missouri, in the center of Kansas City, Missouri, from the river to 79th Street, our boundaries, than anywhere else in the state of Missouri. And as far as I can find out from talking to other librarians, any other library district in the United States. At the moment, $3 million a year, annually, we have a $16 million budget, goes from our budget, from our tax take, from our taxes, voted by you, into developers' hands. And this is not a process that the voters have approved. This is a state law passed in the state legislature, which gives complete control to the city council, basically, of what the rules for this are, how it operates, so that, for instance, we're a member of the TIF Commission. It's nice that they let us be a member of the TIF Commission, and yet we can't, we're told by the TIF staff when we ask for an accounting on a particular TIF project that we would have to go through the Sunshine Law and make a request under the Sunshine Law for this information from a commission staff, of which we were a member of the commission, and that we'd have to pay for the copying, et cetera, et cetera. So, and so what kind of projects are these? Well, I'll tell you about the two latest projects. Latest project, it's a PIEA project, They want to move a law firm. I won't name the law firm, but it's one of the larger tenants in the Commerce Tower today, a not tax-advantaged building, by the way. They want to move this law firm, very large law firm, 5 blocks into a new building that will be tax abated in the city market. Now, what's the economic development rationale for that? Well, there's none. Law firm moving 5 blocks, I don't see that increase there. Is there blight removal? No, actually the property, which is valued currently, and we're receiving taxes on it, and the school district, et cetera, at $1.3 million, just sold for $2.6 million to the developer. So I don't think there's a blight, it's also an empty lot, a blight removal aspect. So what's the public purpose of this? As far as I can tell, the public purpose of this is to pay some development lawyers some money, and to pay the development staff, the EDC, the money that they get from these fees. This is what's going on in Kansas City, and there's a huge amount. As I said, $3 million of our money every year goes into the developer pockets. $30 million of the school district's money. We're the largest in percentage terms because we're 85% property tax funded. The school district is the largest in dollar terms because they're 40%, it's 40% of their revenue. They're of course much larger than we are. And if you see the school district scrambling to pay teachers, scrambling to renovate their buildings, et cetera, you'll understand $30 million has gone into projects like the one I just described. I could go on about the projects and the quality of the projects and the fact that almost no project I've seen in my 4.5 years as library director has got real economic development attached to it. So my whole point here, besides stirring you up to march on City Hall, is that this, whoops, and City Councilwoman Sharon Sanders Brooks, the library's friend who's on the right side of this issue, is sitting there in the second row. She would be happy to have you in her office. And I do want to say Sharon has been on our side on this issue, absolutely on our side. She's been one of the 3 or 4 members of the council who stood up and said we need to have real rules that guide this towards real economic development, towards the parts of the city that really need economic development, and not have the developer of the week club control this. So thank you, Sharon, very much for your support. But my point about all of this is not to tell you about the library's woes. Yes, it is actually. But my point about this is a real live issue. Eminent domain is a variation on this, where we have allowed, where the government has been allowed by the process, by the courts, by an incredible overreach to take property, to take taxes that have been voted in one direction and redirect that in another direction. There's no question in my mind that this is contrary to the view of the founders, contrary to the view of people who designed the original laws around this at the federal or the state or the local level. And we've had the greed of developers and essentially the salivation of some politicians, not Sharon, whenever the words economic development are uttered, have taken control of our public policy. So this is an important issue for the library. Now, just to mention a couple of upcoming events at the library, so you know we're not just about politics all the time. We do have upcoming a couple of major events at the library. We have Sarah Paretsky, the great mystery novelist, and I will be able to tell you when Sarah's coming in 1 second. Sarah Paretsky will be here, and she'll be at the plaza right here on September 24th, Thursday, September 24th, a week from this Thursday here, and she'll be talking about her latest V.I. Warshawski novel. And she's a very interesting person. She's from Lawrence, Kansas originally, too. So she's a local girl who's made good. I also want to mention, because it's received excellent reviews, I haven't read it yet, but Tracy Doherty has written a biography of the great short story writer Donald Barthelme called Hiding Man, and it's going to be a candidate for all the literary awards at the end of this year. And he'll be at the where is he coming? Central Library this Thursday, September 17th.